Morning world, it's the 28th of February 2022. It's about 8 a.m. in the morning UK time. I'm doing this video in response to a number of you who have emailed me to give my astrological perspective on what's going on in the Ukraine at the moment. Now, some of the charts I'm using, I'm getting directly from the website of Penny Thornton, one of the top astrologers, well, in the world, not just the UK. Her Friday Bite has given a lot of data that I previously didn't have. For example, she's given me the moment that the invasion started in Ukraine, and she's also given me the horoscope for the independence of Ukraine. So if you get a chance to check out Penny Thornton's stuff on the Ukraine, it's a really good read. I'm already stated a number of times that with Vladimir Putin's Pluto on the midheaven in Leo, and with Saturn coming up to oppose his Pluto on the midheaven in Leo over the coming 9 months, it's almost as if this is his legacy, that he wants to be Vladimir the Great. I've also suggested that Putin is probably got something that's not right with him, and that he's looking for a legacy so that his memory is consolidated. I've also stated already in the past that I'd be surprised to see Vladimir Putin still in the position of authority that he's in now in a year's time. I believe his time is coming to an end. But sometimes there's a case that you need to be careful to get rid of the devil you know, because the replacement could be worse. Putin's coterie of immediate confidantes, although it's shrunk in recent years to people he does and does not trust, because I do see him as being very, very cautious about who he trusts. There's one character in particular, a chap called General Shugu, who is the chief of the defence staff. He's the Minister for Defence. He used to be the Minister for Emergency Situations. He was born on the 21st of May 1955 in the Tuvu region, bordering China, of a mother who was Russian born in Ukraine and a father who was half Chinese stroke Tibetan. And there's certainly quite a fair bit of evidence that General Shugu was initially brought up as a Buddhist. He's certainly studied Buddhism and shamanism. He collects a lot of swords from different cultures all over the world. He did convert to Russian Orthodox Christianity in order to fit with his current position. He was born on the 21st of May 55, as I've said. We don't have a birth time for him, but he's definitely got the sun in the last degree of Taurus. He's got the moon in Taurus. Now this is where it gets interesting. He was born with the moon opposite Saturn and the sun and the moon square Pluto in Leo. Pluto in his horoscope is at 24 degrees of Leo. Vladimir Putin's Pluto is at 22 degrees of Leo, conjunct his midheaven at 21 degrees of Leo. Ukraine's moon at the moment of its independence was at 22 degrees of Aquarius, so opposite Putin and Shugu's Pluto. I think that both Putin and Shugu see Ukraine's existence as an individual entity as an aberration. Some of the things that's going on disturb me more than the actual warfare itself. I note that just this morning, just in the last couple of hours, the ruble has plunged 30%. The Russian stock exchange has doubled its interest rates and banned foreign currency trading by companies in Russia. They've been told to liquidize all of their foreign financial assets. It seems that the concerted response by other countries, not so much in terms of direct help, but in terms of cutting airspace, cutting the bank systems, cutting the SWIFT systems, the elimination, the making of Russia a pariah, and particularly, I think, the denying of the Russian populace their sport, as in they've been kicking out of every competition in the world apart from the World Cup, but that's because the people who run the World Cup are Putin's best mates. That's a disgrace. It seems that the Russian people are suddenly waking up to hyperinflation. They're realizing that their money's now 30% of less value than it was on Friday. There's queues outside the banks. The Russian government can't get at its resources that are held in foreign countries, or at least not all of the foreign countries. So it seems as if the Russian people are going to be sort of faced with the realisation that all of a sudden food, petrol are going to be 30% more expensive overnight. And they've been ostracised by the rest of the world. Now, the Russian people have been suffering, or used to suffering, for decades, if not hundreds of years. It's kind of hardwired into their system at a certain level. But also, this is the 21st century, and with the advent of social media and the internet in the last 20 to 30 years, there's been a lot more global interaction all around the world, regardless of nationality. I find it interesting also that a lot of social media has now been cut off from Russia because it's been fact-checking some of the claims, and that's not been acceptable to certain elements in the Russian hierarchy. What does disturb me is that although there's been a lot of serious warfare and still is a lot of ongoing conflict in the Ukraine, that the very first thing the Russians did was they secured Chernobyl. This is the world's biggest dirty bomb. And it only takes a wind change and a lunatic to send massive nasty clouds of toxins in any direction that the wind chooses to take it. This is a cause for concern. Also, the astrology of the next few days. It is the new moon in a few days' time. The new moon will be on the new moon is going to be on the 2nd of March. It's going to be at 12 degrees of Pisces. It's going to be at 5:36 in the afternoon, UK time. And I also note that very shortly after this, Mars in the sky will be conjunct Pluto. So to have a new moon with the Sun conjunct Jupiter, amplifying things out of control or out of proportion to reality, to have Mars conjunct Pluto in the sky and Venus conjunct Pluto, but Mars conjunct Pluto, which is perhaps the single most explosive aspect you can have in astrology. Pluto deals with plutonium, it deals with the underworld, it deals with hidden things. Mars in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn is dealing with issues around transparency or lack of in government. I do consider the world to be at risk in the short term. Having done a number of forecasts for individuals for this next month, I revert back to what I said at the beginning of this year, that the first 3 months of this year are the most difficult time of 2022, and providing we get through to the end of March, then I suggest that everything's going to become a lot more easier. But March itself is difficult. Not only do we have this really difficult new moon and Mars conjunct Pluto in the next few days, we also have both Mars and Venus squaring Uranus just around the equinox. And we end the month with Mars and Venus in Aquarius conjuncting Saturn in Aquarius. Now this will be taking place at 22 degrees of Aquarius, exactly opposite Putin's Pluto on the midheaven, exactly on Ukraine's moon, and hitting a number of other points in the chart of both Russia and General Shoigu and various other interested entities. So it seems to me that this conflict in the Ukraine is at serious risk of escalating in a very unpleasant way in the next few days, providing we get through to a time where Mars has finished its conjunction with Pluto, which will be by Friday morning of this week. Then I consider the biggest risk to be over. But because of the upcoming conflict between Mars, Venus and Uranus in mid-March, and then Mars, Venus and Saturn at the end of March, I still feel that this conflict is going to linger on in the background through to the end of the month before some type of resolution will be resolved. I also note that at the very start of April we have the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, which should be a good thing in Pisces, but suggests that there will be an amplification and a clouding of reality. So it may be that there's going to be some type of fudge at the start of April, which many people will interpret the way they want it to be. I don't really care as long as they don't start dropping dirty bombs everywhere. Well, I do care, obviously, but don't want the worst case scenario. Now, I normally try and paint a positive side as everything, because you've got to balance. There's no point in just predicting doom and gloom, because that's what everybody else is doing. If people individually, like you and I, make our stances clear to our respective governments, as people seem to be doing all over the world, except for certain presidents in South America who are seemingly not on the same page as everyone else, but it seems that through consensual protest, the groundswell of opposition to warfare like this in the 21st century, based on territorial land rights and legacy politics, it seems that in the next few days a lot of people can actually make a big difference by making their voices heard in various different ways, obviously peacefully, through direct non-violent action. Let's get through the next few days, folks. Then we'll look at the rest of March properly. Let's get through to Friday morning. Catch you later, world. Keep your spirits up. Send out positive vibes to everyone in scenes of conflict, because most of the Russians doing the fighting are teenagers who haven't got a bloody clue what they're supposed to be doing there. Again, it's a bunch of old men. Says the 66-year-old safe and secure in his London flat. Yeah. All right, world. Catch you later. Stay strong. Bye now.